Hello guys and welcome to the Triumph Speed Twin 1200 full user review. Now I've mentioned on previous videos, because you guys might have seen this bike on the channel itself, this is my dream bike, this is my favourite thing ever, I love this thing. It's much recognisable to the Thruxton 1200R, just obviously with that part of a bench seat from a Bonneville. It's like the best of both worlds, it's a sporty Bonneville essentially with a shitload of torque. However, this is a full review of the bike. I've done just over 2,000 miles on it. So it's like a 3-4 month review of the bike itself. This is the 2022 model because of the lovely clocks, not these horrible LED giant screens they have on now, and this off-center key, which I'm not a fan of. The bike's great, they ride phenomenally well, but just this version is just so much cleaner for me. Plus I like the design on the tank a little better. So I'm going to give you a full rundown of what the bike is like to own, what the insurance is like, what the tank holds, how much fuel it uses, pros and cons to the bike. And I tell you what, there's not many cons, but to be fair, we can start with the cons. And I'll show you now. So this has two major cons for me. One, which, if you come over here, is the side stand itself. Now this little catch that you use your heel to grab is actually extremely hard to get, and now that is really stretching it. That's how hard it is to find something negative about this bike. That little catch, I would highly recommend sticking maybe an extra piece of rubber on there. I've had a few people comment on some of the videos about how they've done an accessory to the side stand just to make it a bit easier for your heel to find. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, you won't be able to see it here, but if you take this cover off, you can fit two spacers into the throttle, because at low speeds, it is a bit jerky. It's a bit herky-jerk, which is a really known problem, I'm going to say, with a lot of sports bikes actually, but this bike in particular. And that's the only two negatives I can actually find out about the bike. I would, in future, replace these with the RS models. Much like the Norton Commando, actually, the 961, it has that sort of suspension on it. I would, spend the money upgrading the suspension if you're going to ride the bike as much as I'm planning to, and have done. So we'll actually start with one thing I like about this bike, which a lot of bikes don't have, and I like it, is the fuel gauge. The fuel gauge is hit and miss. I've had 0 miles a few times show up, and I've done about 50-60 miles on 0 miles, so it's not completely accurate, but if you ride this bike economically, I've had around 150 to 160 miles out of one tank. And that's pretty good going. If you start riding it a bit of like a hooligan, it can get as low as like 70 miles. It can less than half if you're burning through that fuel, because it really does. It's, it's a 1200. It's going to use some fuel if you're going to use that throttle. And by God, you want to use the throttle because of sounds like this. So a lot of people have been asking what the bike looks like with somebody on it, stationary, to see actual leg length and stuff. So I'm going to set the camera down, and hopefully that's fully in shot. Now I am 6 feet tall, 183 centimeters, and you can see how bent my knees are. This is an extremely, extremely comfortable bike. I hope the camera pans in enough. If not, I'll zoom in. But in general, the bike isn't heavy at all. When you actually lift it up from this kind of position, as you can see, if you said to someone, what size is this bike? Most people aren't saying a 1200. It just doesn't feel like that at all. Another good thing I do like about this bike, though, speaking of it, because it's right here, is the lovely petrol filler tank and a proper clip. Real secure, and a snap-in tank. I know that sounds silly, but it's a nice little thing. You've got rider modes, which can't show unless the bike is actually on, and it's midnight as I'm recording this, so that'll be on another section of the video. But it does have a rain mode, a road mode, and a sport mode. And as far as I'm aware, it's the same power, it just delivers it a little bit slower. Another good thing I do like about this is, I mentioned it in one of the ride-ons, the brakes. These brakes are, to die for. They are so powerful. And to stop a bike like this, with one finger, no problem. Modern bikes and modern brakes are just the biggest upgrade you can ever ask for. So MPG wise, I'm doing roughly 65 to 70 MPGs on this thing. So insurance wise, I have it on a multi-bike policy with those two machines, and altogether I'm just shy of £300 a year all in for 3 bikes on multi-bike, which is, that's nothing for 3 bikes in my head. Road tax, you're going to be at the upper echelon because it's over 600. Well, it's a 1200, so it's definitely going to be the upper echelons of tax. Price wise, I paid around just over 7 grand for this. 5,000 miles on the clock roughly. It's about 7,500 now, and that was about 3 or 4 months ago. The upgraded RS version is around 14.5 grand new. The new ones of these now, with unfortunately the different screen, is about 11.5, I think, 12.
Ha! Wrong!
Shut up!
Whoa!
So it's a competitive price. It's not the cheapest on the market. If you bought a brand new SV, you were looking around 7.5, 8, and same with the new replacement for the SVs. I can't remember exactly what they're called, the GSX TTs or whatever they are. And I'm not sure how much an F800 would have been new, but probably as much as that. It's BMW. So it is a competitive price. It's around the same price as the Bonnevilles, the T120s. I think it's a slightly lesser price than the Scrambler 1200s because that is a hell of a lot of bike for the money. Oh, and before I forget, the only other upgrade I would actually make to the bike is here. These two indicators can be changed now to really nice circular ones, which I would put on. And you could probably get a towel tidy for this because it's a long piece of plastic sticking out, but I do like it. And considering my surname is Norton, I think that's one hell of a good number plate to get, luckily. It's almost like the bike was made for me. Also, a surname is pretty good for a lover of motorcycles. So the final specs are parallel twin, around 100 horsepower. I think this one is 99. I think the newer ones are about 105. Bucket load of torque. I'll put the actual numbers on screen. Doesn't have a dipstick, has a sight glass. All of these questions were asked. And you can get aftermarket. I think Triumph sell them as well, but you can get side pannier railings added for two side boxes essentially. But the ones from Triumph are just these horrible leather ones that aren't waterproof, which is no good for touring. You kind of want waterproof stuff. So I actually use, I've got a 40 litre, a 60 and 80 litre bag. I literally just hook onto the back and put some straps onto the pannier railings here and the chassis. And it's good to go. It doesn't move anywhere, and it's got more than enough, luggage for me. So the only modifications I would make to the bike are a bit of rubber on the side stand, spacers on the throttle, which I'm going to do myself very shortly. If you're going longevity, you could get a different seat. I think this seat is extremely comfortable, but I've heard a lot of people moan about it. Different strokes for different folks, because I hated the Suzuki seat, so I got this one, and the old one's up there on that box, and that's meant to be a comfort seat for the BMW, but I find that way more uncomfortable than that. I think it just depends what your arse shape is, I guess. I've got a very sensitive butt, so that one suits me very nicely. No numb, no pain, no nothing, and I've done multiple, 3 hours in one go on this thing, and it's absolute dream. But we'll throw on some on-road stuff now just to show how this bike performs in the dry, if you haven't seen it already, and then in the dark, just so you can see the headlight itself. All right, guys, here we are doing a casual drive, showing you what this bike is like in the dry, if you haven't seen other videos on this already. So something I couldn't show you in the garage, and I'll try and zoom in here if you can see. We have an information button on the left of the bike here, and we have different settings we can go through on the left-hand panel. But then we also have the mode button. If you click that mode button, it goes from road to sport to rain. There is a safety feature as well, which means when you come to a stop, you can change the settings on road, sport or rain. If you're on the go and you want to change it, you have to press and hold for a certain amount of seconds to confirm that option, just a safety measure that you don't accidentally go from rain into sport by accident. Never know if you knocked it from an indicator or a horn or something. Don't know if you can hear that with the slight jerk from just setting off. But it's not a lot, to be honest, but it is a little bit. And it's enough that it makes you go, I might need the spacers, especially if you were doing a lot of town riding. Now, luckily for me, I'm not. When I ride a bike, it's it's not for commuting at all. It's just for fun. So I can go wherever I want. So if I want to avoid a town, I will. However, there are nice little villages I do drive through, being in Suffolk. But obviously, if I do go further out than Suffolk, then, you know, it's nice to have a bike that can kind of do everything. It's actually colder now than when I filmed the night scene, which you'll see after this. I filmed that around midnight and it was pretty warm. It's actually a lot colder now at midday the following day. How is the bike through slow moving traffic though? Yeah, it's really strong. I mean, the clutch control on this is effortless. You know, I don't actually think you need to be anywhere near a good rider to be able to ride this bike efficiently, or effectively by that matter. Considering the size of the bike and the torquiness of the bike, I would actually argue that this bike is extremely easy to ride. There's almost like no fear factor with it at all, unless you are absolutely caning it. But even then, the bike gives you a lot of respect. The time you don't respect the bike is when it will spit you off, so you still need to be careful with the amount of mid-range torque on this. It's kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing, this bike. Very retro. It's like the gentleman's sports bike, isn't it? We're going down my favorite road just to test stuff on because it's normally extremely quiet. It's a national road, so you can give it a little bit of juice. But I really do like taking this bike through back roads. I had a comment not too long ago which is saying you're wasting that bike riding it through these sort of lanes. It needs to be explored. It needs to be on long, hard roads where you can use the power. And I'm going, how about you shut up telling someone how to use their bike? Use a bike for however you want. If you want an adventure bike and you just stick to the city, who cares? These national roads are so lovely for a bike like this. If you're looking for something to tour on, if you're looking for something to, you know, be a complete town bike, you know, there are better options out there than this. There are. If you're looking for an all-rounder, however, I don't think you can get much better if you like retro-looking motorcycles. There's obviously like budget versions of this bike that I would say is like the Interceptor from Royal Enfield. That's more like a Bonneville, I'd say. It's more flat back. It's a lot less power. It's less than half the brake horsepower. And it's got almost no guts to it, but as a steady, really nice, relaxing, flat bench bike, it's pretty flawless. Listen to that engine just sing. Absolute masterpiece. And overall, that's why I bought this bike. The looks of the bike are mwah, chef's kiss. They are right up my street. This is exactly what I want the look of a bike to be. However, the engine on this thing is, it's mind-meltingly good. If you do stick this bike in rain mode, however, it is meant to stop the herky-jerky as much as if it was in road or sport, because obviously this bike doesn't want to be going low speeds. And when I mean low speeds, I mean like crawling speeds under 10 miles an hour. People want to know what the horn sounds like. It's very nice. So there she is, the Speed Twin 1200. What an absolute beaut. Okay, so this is the night ride test. And you can see we've got street lights at the moment. So we're okay for light. But I'll take us down my usual route of that little country lane where it is pitch black and you can see all three settings of the light itself. Down here we'll give the test of the three modes, so you can see going into the darkness here, no light at all. Switch on the lights and it's not bad. You know, I can see probably like 10 meters ahead of me really brightly, but then you stick on the high beam and it is phenomenal. I can see all the way down the end of the road and the full width, the full peripheral vision of myself I can see as well, which is brilliant. Absolutely outstanding light on this thing. And this isn't the newest model either with the LED. This is the 2022 version, so this light is really, really crisp, really bright, not glary in any way either. The reflectance of the screen is perfect.
You can see everything you need to see like it was daylight. In fact, actually, I'd argue probably better than daylight. But I feel like this is enough information for you guys to see how this bike rides at night. Feels at night for me. No issues at all with light. As long as you've got the high beam on. If you have the other beam on, most likely you've got cars in front of you, which you can see anyway. So, honestly, not a problem at all.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed my entire review of the bike, my owner's review. I'll come back when I've done 10,000 miles because I think that's the next threshold for the valves on this bike. But until then, like the video if you did enjoy it, guys. Subscribe to the channel for more content, and I'll see you in the next one.